Happy holidays, football fans. Welcome to another edition of Player Interviews presented by Inside the Hashes. My name is Juan Pablo Gordon Camargo, and I am joined in a room filled, well, partially filled with football experts today. I got Dan Braxton over to my left. I got Avery Collins over here at the bottom. What's up, you guys?
Everybody say what's up to my man Drip.
Oh, he back.
Cute
He is
girl.
back,
Oh,
baby.
my God.
Drip is back in the building.
Drip is back and look
Everybody.
swaggy.
Have you always had a turtle, or is it just like, the first time ever?
Oh no, I've had him for about 3 years now. 2 or 3 years now. Yeah.
Oh, well, his name is Trip?
Drip.
Ah, I get it. He's cute, man. My brother actually collects like turtle memorabilia, so like I'll let him know that you have one. But that's so awesome, man. Like I remember when I had a turtle. Funny story. So like it was when I first moved back to the United States. My brother and I got these pet turtles from a small shop in Chinatown. And one of them passed away from natural causes about a couple months later because Chinatown. But the other one, it stuck around for so long and really did a good job. And then one day it just wasn't eating, and we kept giving it food, not really checking up on it for a bit of a while. And then when we finally checked up on him, all we found was the turtle shell and a turtle skeleton. And we're just like, oh my God, he died. And we just kept throwing lettuce in there thinking he was going to eat it. Oh no.
That sucks.
I know.
That. I mean, a lot of people don't know that like turtles are like any other animal, man. They can get sick. They like Drip, he'll get a cold every now and again. You'll hear him sneezing and stuff.
It's weird, man. And that's the last time I ever ask for a turtle for Christmas or a pet for Christmas in general. But speaking of the holidays, guys, it is the wonderful time of year. It is Christmas Eve. I don't know how you guys do it up in your house, but I'm prepared to have a big, nice honey roasted ham later tonight with some good sidings to go with it. How y'all celebrating tonight?
Well, Drip is currently climbing over my feet, so if you see any weird faces,
Okay.
that's what that is. But we typically go over my aunt's and just kind of, hang out, say what's up, maybe open a present or two, eat some food, some good grub, and then Christmas is held here every year, so looking forward to that. I don't know if you can see the slight Christmas lights in the background. It's more in the front room. I'm in the back, But yeah, that's how we do it around here.
Well, COVID and all, it's kind of hard to celebrate like we normally do. Family gets together at my mom's, but can't do it this year. So we're all doing it virtually through Zoom, opening up presents tomorrow, things like that. But just chilling tonight. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to relax.
Well, right now we can give a lot of our viewers out here just the gift of some football talk and smack talk here today, as is tradition, with even the tomorrow's Christmas game coming up, which we'll get to later in the show. But right now, let's go right into the rundown. And the first bit of the rundown here today is that the Lions will be shorthanded going into this week's game on the coaching side of things, as NFL insider Ian Rappaport reported on Thursday that interim head coach Darrell Bevell won't coach on Saturday after being deemed a high-risk close contact of someone who tested positive for COVID-19 on Thursday. With Bevell out of commission, wide receiver coach Robert Prince will be the interim head coach, and QB coach Sean Ryan will take over play calling duties on offense. So we're gonna have kind of like a co-head coach situation happening for Detroit this Saturday. Detroit also announced that defensive coordinator Corey Undlin, defensive line coach Bo Davis, defensive backs coach Steve Gregory, and linebackers coach Ty McKenzie will also be absent from Saturday's game. So that Lions defense, already having to deal with multiple injuries, will be without a coaching staff on the sideline this Saturday. What a blow for what is obviously a lost season up in Detroit. Going down into the desert, DeAndre Hopkins has had it with local sports media. The league's receiving yards leader made it clear to reporters in the Thursday press conference that he does not watch Arizona local media, but his grandfather does. And he reports back to Hopkins on every single criticism against Nuke that he hears, including some flack that reporters have been giving Hopkins about missing practice this year, as he's missed 18 out of 41 practice sessions of the 2020 season. Hopkins' message to critics, guys, tell those people who say I don't practice to come watch me play that game. Kind of some shades of Allen Iverson, like shade, coming into the fold, which, funny enough, happened 18 years ago. So if you didn't feel old yet, you do now. And a last bit of news, kind of some personal news. For me, it has to do with the Jets, because what else is new with the Jets? Fans have been attacking the Jets punter Braden Mann on Twitter after he saved what would have been a go-ahead punt return touchdown on Sunday against the Rams when he tackled Rams returner Nasimba Webster on a 50-yard punt return. And after that punt return, the Rams had a turnover on downs, and then the offense got a first down conversion and won the game, giving the Jets their first win of the season and losing them the first overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Braden's message to the fans that are giving him all his hate, he goes, I don't think they ever tried to compete at something like this. For us, we get paid to play. We get paid to win. I could care less about the social media reaction, to be honest with you. And with that, we conclude today's rundown for today. And we're all missing a lot of our family members here during the holiday season. We can't join them because of COVID or because they live so far away that it's hard to get out there at last minute. And for the Lions, they're going to be missing their coaching staff going into Tampa this weekend. Darren, how big of a blow is it for the Lions to not have most of their coaching staff on the sideline?
It's going to be devastating, honestly. You got to think about, first off, all the injuries that they're having on the offense and defensive side of the ball. Guys like Matthew Stafford, Ragnar, Taylor Decker, Vitae, Jamie Collins, and already Galladay is out again on the offensive side. He's already ruled out. So guys like that, it's hard to replace those when that's some of your key starters. So just to lose not only them, but the offensive and defensive, basically, coaching staff, the guys that's running the plays, the guys that's making the calls and making the harder decisions, it is going to be almost hard and irresponsible to place. But they can do it. But it's going to be very hard against the Bucs, because the only way they can really do it, have those defensive guys that's there step up and have a run-centered offense. But against the Bucs defense, that's going to be kind of hard to do.
Especially when you got Tom Brady, who just pulled off a 17-point comeback against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. Speaking of the Atlanta Falcons, Avery, you having played against multiple wide receivers in your day in the semi-pro leagues, you know that some of them can have personalities, some of them can be diva-ish. DeAndre Hopkins isn't known to be a diva, but when you get on his bad side, you get on his bad side. Do you think that Hopkins' comments about the criticism of going to practice is unfair? Because keep in mind, he's leading the league with over 1,300 receiving yards. He has about 8 touchdowns on the season out of, I think, 98 catches so far. I got to double check the stats to be sure, but is the criticism warranted?
No, not at all. I mean, it's one thing if he's not producing, but he's producing. We got to remember DeAndre Hopkins is not a rookie receiver anymore. He's been in the league. I think this is his 8th or 9th year. So it's not like he's a rookie receiver who's on rookie legs. He's getting older. Not to say that he's slowing down or any of those things, but he is getting older. He wants to conserve his body and wants to play for as long as he can. I think media is taking it too far when they cross certain lines like that. It's not like he's not practicing at all. He is practicing. And like I said, he's producing. Like you said, he's leading the league in receiving yards. I mean, we saw the catch that he made, the Hail Mary catch that he made. So he's producing. He's arguably the top receiver in the league right now. So what is your issue with him? Like, I think it's a situation where you're trying to place blame or trying to find a nitpick somewhere because the team success isn't doing well. But DeAndre is not the problem. So let's not start pointing the finger at DeAndre. That doesn't make sense. It's like you're sitting there. It doesn't make sense to me because Tony Gonzalez, toward the end of his career, wasn't practicing every day. Ben Roethlisberger doesn't practice every day. It's a right and a veteran privilege.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a vet on the team, you can afford to do that.
Especially when you're also having 103 catches, you're averaging 12.9 yards per reception, and you have 6 touchdowns on the season. So it is warranted. Plus, he is making one heck of a contract this year. So the money's warranted with it too.
Exactly. So it's I think people are just, again, they're trying to find something wrong. I think it could be even a thing where they're trying to find something wrong with him. Again, he's been a stand-up guy in this league for how long? I mean, you've heard no problems, no off-the-field issues, no PED use, no nothing. It's just I go out and I produce. And when you talk, then I talk. And then you get mad because I'm better at talking than you are. So it's like,
I still find it surprising that Bill O'Brien compared him to Aaron Hernandez. The comparison is just not there. I really don't see it, in all honesty. And, speaking of hateful messages, I want to ask both of you guys, the hateful messages that Braden Mann has been getting from Jets fans. Look, I am upset that we lost the number 1 pick. Yes, absolutely. As a Jets fan, it hurts. It hurts very much. But at the same time, that's life. That's football. You move on. But, how low of a fan do you have to be to try to, insult and threaten players just because they're not losing games in order to get Trevor Lawrence? There are contract incentives for winning. There's contract incentives for making Pro Bowls and doing this and certain amount of this and that. I just think it's ridiculous. And, for what you guys like, Avery, the Falcons have kind of been like a self-destructive franchise. So that, from your perspective of a fan base, I'd like to know, like, how would you handle this as a Falcons fan if they were going out on a losing streak?
I mean, I wouldn't be upset. I mean, as a fan, I would be upset with the fans who are acting crazy. But for me, it's like, my whole thing is this: as a competitor, when you get on that field, you're trying to win. I don't care. I really don't care. At the end of the day, I'm trying to win a football game. I'm not trying to go 0-16. I'm not worried about a draft pick, because I'm worried about my livelihood. So I'm not worried about. I mean, like, if I'm out there blowing plays, there's a chance they don't bring me back. So bump that. If that punter doesn't make that tackle, who's to say that they don't cut him after that game? Saying, like, listen, are you throwing the season? Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, no. The other thing is fans. The fans. It's 2 points. One, the fans who are upset with that punter for doing what he did. They're not true Jets fans, right? Because my thing is this: if you really watch the team, Sam Darnold is not the problem, right? And I get it. You'd probably rather have Trevor Lawrence
put them on the level of the Jets, though. Oh, come on! Hey, I'm not calling the Falcons any worse than the Jets. I'm just saying, if the Falcons were in this situation, because they do have a history of letting fans down in the worst possible moments. But I also want to bring this up. Just because Trevor Lawrence is projected to be the greatest QB prospect since Andrew Luck doesn't make it true. And that's kind of why I want to bring in Darren into the discussion, because he got his franchise quarterback with the 32nd overall pick in Lamar Jackson. So, Darren, I really want to ask you.
I just wanted the second point. The second point was that, and he kind of alluded to it, was like, a lot of you fans who are upset, you never played. Especially on that level. You're not out there competing. Nobody wants to go 0-16 and be the laughing stock of the NFL. Nobody wants to do that. Like, I mean, you get let's say you end up with the 2nd overall pick. Obviously, if you were going to use it on the quarterback, now you have leverage to trade down, get some things that you actually need, because your quarterback is going to need to be protected.
I'd rather take the offensive lineman out of Oregon, to be honest, but like, that's neither here nor there. And Darren, real quick, you got your franchise quarterback, like I said, with the Ravens getting him at the 32nd overall pick. Tell me, does it really matter if you pick one or not? Because you're just drafting by need when you're a team?
So it really depends. A lot of teams nowadays really want to get that starting franchise guy in there, and they will do basically anything they got to do to get that guy in there. But as we've seen over the years, the Russell Wilsons, 3rd round, the Dak Prescotts, 4th round, these guys just come and play, and you don't have to be the number 1 overall. You don't have to be the number 2. Look at it like this: there are guys that's like a Josh Rosen, who went in number 10, and where is he at now? Or
on the practice squad for the 49ers.
You could be a guy like Lamar Jackson coming in 32nd, being told that you were nothing but a wide out running back, and come in and take the lead by storm. So it all depends on the character of that person. So it really doesn't matter what pick you get. Just make sure you get the right guy for you.
Just a reminder to fans out there, Jamarcus Russell was the number 1 overall pick. And he was rated as the top quarterback prospect in that class. So
Johnny Manziel, Jamarcus Russell,
Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf. Currently, unfortunately, I have to include him in there. Sam Darnold, but again, he's not the problem. You can't sit there and Sam Bradford. You can't sit there and say that these guys, if we're gonna just take the number 1 or the top 10, that they're just going to pan out. It doesn't work that way. It really does not work that way all the time. Sometimes, yes, not all the time. Tom Brady.
Definitely. Like
when he was drafted. I mean, and I love Alex Smith, but who's had the better career, Alex Smith or Aaron Rodgers?
Exactly, and both of those guys are actually leading some playoff hopeful teams coming into this year right now, which brings us to our first topic of today, which is playoff seeding predictions. Guys, there is 2 weeks left in the season. I can't explain to you how excited I am for this time of the year. Playoffs are here, baby, and it's just amazing. But remember, not all teams are guaranteed a spot just yet. So far, 6 teams total have clinched a playoff spot. That's the Chiefs, the Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC, and the Packers, Saints, and Seahawks in the NFC. And they still have plenty of stipulations in order to clinch either a first round bye or the second seed, and et cetera. But they already have their paths clinched. There are still teams fighting to maintain their positions. In the AFC, it's the Titans, it's the Browns, it's the Colts, and the Dolphins. In the NFC, it's the football team, the Washington football team, the Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Arizona Cardinals. And you still got like 4 or 5 more teams in the hunt combined in these brackets. So let's kind of break down some of this playoff scenarios happening around here. And I'm gonna give it like 1 NFC, 1 AFC. And for the AFC, I'm gonna throw it over to Darren first.
All right, so you already know what my AFC looks like. You already should know. But what you don't know is this: how the order is. I already have the Chiefs. They're honestly, to me, they're going to win another game, sit Patrick Mahomes and the guys that last game. So it's a toss-up game for them. I got those guys going 14-2, number 1 seed. And the number 2 seed, I have the Buffalo Bills going on a 2-game win streak to end the year out, beating out the Dolphins in the last week 17 game, which makes the Buffalo Bills 13-3. Now, because of that, just think about it like this. Just wait on.
I remember I said on Chris Thomas's Run It Back radio show that the Pittsburgh Steelers were a fraudulent, perfect team, and I was right. Just want to make that clear real quick.
That's cool because number 3 is Tennessee. Tennessee will only lose to the Packers because the Packers are just wrong. But they will bounce back and win that division and go number 3, ending up 12-4. Steelers will win the AFC North with a 12-4 record because they will beat the Cleveland Browns next week, not this week.
Ooh, you're calling the Steelers to win the AFC North? Hot take. We're chalking up with one of your hot takes, man. But that's for next. That's going into next week, man.
Oh yeah, fifth seed is the Browns at 11-5, the Colts 11-5, and the Ravens go on a 2-game win streak to end the year off, along with the other three. So a 5-game win streak to end the year off. Because we have the easiest schedule of everyone in the league. All we have to do is continue to play the way we have. So I have to believe in my guys, 11-5. But the only reason why we're in, the Dolphins lose to the Bills, people. The Dolphins lose to the Bills in week 17, dropping them to 10-6.
It was a shootout in week 2 when the Dolphins met the Bills earlier in this year. And that was with Ryan Fitzpatrick at the helm. Now you got Tua Tagovailoa, who's a bit more of a conservative quarterback out of game plan necessity by Brian Flores. But that defense by the Dolphins and special teams unit, for that matter, is much more improved than it was a few weeks ago. So that's going to be an interesting battle coming in for the coming weeks. Avery, break down the NFC for me, man.
All righty then. So, I think we all can agree that the Packers are going to be the number one overall seed in the NFC. I don't think, I think the Saints could make a push for it, but just the way the Packers are set up right now, Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind. He's, probably leading the league in MVP votes, if not Patrick Mahomes. So, the Packers are going to win the NFC. The NFC only, and especially because the division they play in as well. Detroit's not beating them. Chicago's not beating them. The Vikings aren't beating them. So I'm going to go with the Packers at number 1. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Saints, obviously, because Drew Brees is coming back. Mm-hmm. We saw that without Drew Brees, their defense stepped up. Their running game was still, something to be messed with. So you bring Drew Brees back into that fold, it can only make your team essentially better. Obviously, I think Taysom Hill's probably going to you're going to see him a little bit more, a little more packages and different things like that. And like I said, their defense is playing lights out right now. I think if there was a strongest team in the NFC right now, I'll probably say the Saints because of their defense. I think the Packers are just, because of the way that they're set up right now, in position to just win the NFC North. But like I said, the NFC. But like I said, I think the Packers are probably the strongest team because of their defense. Their defense is phenomenal, but they went 3-1 without Drew Brees, and he's coming back. So there you go there. I actually think the 3 seed, this one is tough, man. I want to say the Seahawks. I do, but I have a weird feeling the Rams are going to win out. I have a strange feeling the Rams are going to win out. They're going to correct some things that they need corrected. I think Jared Goff is going to go into playoff mode, and I think that the Rams are actually going to end up being the 3 seed. I got
the Rams at 11-5, number 3 seed.
Just remember, Sean McVay's had a difficult time trying to beat Pete Carroll in second go rounds in the season. So if they can win that game, then yeah, I can see the potential where you're going with Avery, but that's a huge if.
Yeah, man. I it's a weird feeling. Like I said, that weird feeling I had that the Bengals were going to beat the Steelers. It's the same weird feeling I have that the Rams are going to win out and end up winning the division, being the 3 seed, which will bump the Seahawks down. I think they still get a wild card spot. I think they will be the number 5 spot, but I think number 4 is going to be the Washington football team.
I mean, they kind of have to be. They are the lowest division leader if they win. If they win the East,
that's 7-9.
I believe the Washington football team is going to be the number 4 seed. I think they're going to win their division. They played the Seahawks well without Alex Smith. If Alex Smith plays in that game, I can see them potentially winning that game.
Chris, you basically copied your bracket from what's on NFL.com. I know you. I know it.
But I'm going to go with Washington at number 4. Like I said, the Seahawks at number 5. I'm going to go with the Bucs at number 6. The only reason I'm saying at number 6 and not higher is because of the fact that the Falcons really gave them all they could handle. Mm-hmm. Yes, we lost the game in typical Falcon fashion, but the fact that, again, it's another rivalry game that they have to play against the Falcons. I think that there's a possibility that they lose at least one more game, and I think you at this point in the season you can't lose a game right now and get a higher spot. And then I'm thinking it's going to be the Bears, man. I don't think the Cardinals make it. I think the Cardinals stumble late in the season, and I think the Bears end up going and getting that last playoff spot. And so that's how I have it.
I really hope you're wrong because I need the Bears to lose against the Jaguars this week. Also, Chris, we're going to hold off on the playoff talks. I mean, the MVP talks until we're really deep into the postseason, man. So we'll hold off on that for now. But good choice, right? A-Rod. So, I was going to ask you guys which team on the bubble you think would make it, but you already answered it. Darren, you with the Ravens winning out and getting in, and Avery with the Chicago Bears. I see where I can see the cases for both of them. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because there's a lot of playoff implications here that are just really, really interesting. The one specifically for me is the Washington football team's one. In order for Washington to clinch the NFC East, they either have to win and the Giants have to lose or tie, or they have to tie. New York has to lose, and Philly and Dallas would have to tie. So like that's that. So there's a lot of these is what it's structured with, and what I love about the playoffs the most is how convoluted a lot of these situations have to be in order to roll one way or another. Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Congrats on paying a practice squad disgruntled QB $127 million to sit on the bench. So, we'll sit there for that for now, man. And it's hard for me to try to snub Chris with that kind of talk, but it's also harder for when players get snubbed for the Pro Bowl, which brings me to our second topic of the day, which is NFL Pro Bowl snubs. And also Carson Wentz is not a snub. He didn't deserve to go in the first place. Secondly, we saw a lot of players not get their name called for the Pro Bowl this year. Once again, kind of reiterating the not reinstating the stereotype that it is just a popularity contest. I mean, how did Evan Ingram get the nod and not Robert Tonyan, who has about 12 touchdowns this year, is just a mystery to me. But anyway, we're not here to talk about who did make it. We're here to talk about who didn't make it. And I want to give the floor to Avery first for his Pro Bowl snubs.
Well, you just talked about one, Robert Tonyan. Like the fact that he should be in the Pro Bowl. I believe he's tied for the league lead, or maybe second in the league, and touchdown for a tight end. That's ridiculous.
Is that more Carson, or was that Nick Foles that got you your Super Bowl, Jerome? And where is he now?
Juan going in on Carson today, boy. I tell you,
Eagles fans just coming at me today. I'm sorry,
but anyway, my next, I would say is James Robinson. Seriously, he's not in the Pro Bowl. I believe he's third in the league in rushing right now. Nobody expected anything from
the only undrafted rookie in NFL history to run for 1,000 yards.
He's got 1,000 yards on a team that's going nowhere. Like what? I mean, he's really balling. Nobody expected this from him. Nobody. And he's not in the Pro Bowl? Disrespectful. DeForest Buckner. You mean to tell me that DeForest Buckner did not make the Pro Bowl? Look at what he did for that Colts defense. I mean,
9.5 sacks on the season, only missed one game.
What are we talking about right now? I mean, he played in the Super Bowl last year. He bolstered that defense. He goes and leaves for San Francisco and goes to the Colts and bolsters that defense up to a top 5 defense in the league. What are we talking about here, people? What are we talking about? Why is he not in the Pro Bowl? I got two more. Antoine Whitfield, not in the Pro Bowl. Are we serious right now?
Can I give a description on one Whitfield a little bit?
I mean, the dude is he's a complete baller. There's nothing on the field that he can't do. He literally at the safety position, he's what you would want in a safety all around, right? I think I would want him see him better in coverage, but obviously he's a rookie. But I mean, he plays up in the box. He can cover.
Fair point, Chris.
Fair point. But he can cover in the back end. I mean, he can tackle in the open field. He
needs to have a competent GM, Jerome.
And he's still a tough-nosed football player who's like he's not afraid to go in and hit you. Like I just believe Antoine Winfield, and like I said, he was kind of to me the missing piece on that defense last year. If they had him last year, we might be singing a different tune about what the Bucs would have done last year. Honestly, because that was the missing piece, was their defense. And then last but not least, I'm going to be a homer. No Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, that was surprising for me too. Like
Are we
9
serious?
touchdowns, over 100 catches. I think like 1,200 yards. No,
Let me
1,000.
paint it for you. Let me paint the picture for you. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, and Travis Kelce
Yeah, Trey
all have
Hendrickson.
more targets.
Should get the nod.
All have more targets and catches than Calvin Ridley. But Calvin Ridley is only less than 150 yards behind the top guy, who is DeAndre Hopkins. And DeAndre Hopkins has 30 more catches.
Before he did, was it the same guy that drafted Jalen Hurts, Jerome? I'm sorry, but he's coming at me. I gotta respond.
On top of the fact that Calvin Ridley has done this with Julio being hurt, he himself being hurt and missing games. I'm sorry. You mean to tell me that Calvin Ridley is not a Pro Bowl receiver? That's sick to me. Sick.
And it's truly a crime, man. It's truly a crime. And as a Falcons fan, I can feel your pain. But Darren, I have no sympathy for you, man, because you got Ravens bolstering the Pro Bowl just like everyone.
Dark horse snub, Ben Roethlisberger. I get it, but they went 11-0.
Yeah. And Darren, like I said, your Ravens have what? How many Jerome, exactly, but not he's your savior apparently, not Carson. So I guess what does that tell you? Anyway, Darren, real quick, you have I think 5 Ravens in the Pro Bowl, 6 Ravens in the Pro Bowl already. Who are some of the snubs? Not Lamar Jackson definitely isn't one of them. Who are some of what?
He ain't there this year.
Give me your snubs, man. Who you got?
So Avery definitely hit a good bit of mine, honestly. Tanya was definitely number 1 on that list. Buckner for me was a big thing because the guy literally transformed one defense, went to another place, and did it all over again. And it's ridiculous because he leads the team in sacks and he leads the team in tackles for loss. I believe it's 14. But the guy's a monster. I don't understand that. Robinson, who single-handedly almost made me come back in my fantasy football league. I don't understand how Robinson's not on there. I'm sorry. Ridley had to put him on there as well. But a guy that's not been mentioned so far, Hendrickson, which I think Chris Thomas actually shouted out.
He did, yeah.
12.5 sacks? Cam Jordan is in the Pro Bowl. Don't get me wrong. Cam Jordan is an amazing defensive end. But if you got 12.5 sacks and your team then only had 6.5, who you think is going to the Pro Bowl? Henderson. But what happens? Jordan. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But I love the way Henderson plays. He's been coming up slowly but surely throughout his time with the Saints. And he's really blossomed this year. And last but not least for me, I'm not going to lie, I really, really would like to have seen this. Tannehill in the Pro Bowl. The guy has over 30 touchdown passes for the first time in his career. And he is balling, people. Balling. And everyone thinks the success of the Titans runs only on Derrick Henry. Yes, Derrick Henry is a big call, but what Tannehill is doing and having that team in the top 5 in scoring, it's ridiculous.
Let's not also forget he's giving Corey Davis a career year, and AJ Brown's again emerging as a top receiver. So yes, this is everyone's forgetting. While this is a team that runs well with Henry, it is a well-rounded offense down in Tennessee. Avery, I think you were muted. Were you saying something?
Say that again.
You were muted. You were saying something?
No, I just I agree that Ryan Tannehill has definitely been balling. I think that you can definitely make a case for him. I mean, but it's tough with quarterbacks. I mean, you can make a case for Matt Ryan. I mean, you can make.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But I think they got it right with the quarterbacks. To be honest,
I'm gonna list off my picks for it, but I'll let Darren respond really quick.
Real quick, Jamal Adams. Not sure he should have been in the Pro Bowl. Only because of coverage. Only because of coverage.
He missed 6 games. He missed 6 games.
Hey,
just because he picked up 9 sacks in the games that he played doesn't make him a Pro Bowler. It just makes him a situational pass that's opportunistic.
Safety went over 9 sacks and you lead your team. You don't pressure the quarterback. There's 11 other guys that got more pressures than him on that team, but he leads the team in total pressures and leads the team in total sacks at a safety spot.
And that brings me to my snub.
He's a linebacker.
And that brings me to my snubs. And it's actually from teams that didn't have any Pro Bowlers make it. The first one, obviously, James Robinson, who, again, got snubbed, came in undrafted, had to take over for an unknown running situation in Jacksonville and came out as a top runner. Then the second one being the Bengals safety, Jesse Bates, who is PFF's highest graded safety at 91.5, 15 pass deflections, 97 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 4 fumbles. He's been a great cleanup artist for that horrific Bengals secondary. And then I got 2 Jets on it. And that's trying to be as objective as possible on this list. The first one, safety Marcus May, who is PFF's 3rd ranked safety in the NFL. He's had to be a hybrid Jamal Adams, but he's still better in coverage than Jamal ever was. 71 tackles, 2 sacks, 11 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles. The other one, defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, 9.5 sacks on the year, 2 forced fumbles, 83 total tackles. And I can kind of see why Williams wasn't in the conversation. He does have 3 roughing the passer calls against them, and he was part of the Greg Williams kind of hurt quarterbacks kind of defense. So I can see where it's coming from, the bias, but still, you cannot dissuade that kind of production. And before I get into any more rants and go and get in trouble here by any censorship, we're going to jump into the final topic of the week, which is Week 16 game picks and hot takes. And I'm going to throw it over to Avery first to give his. So go ahead, Avery. Give me what you got.
All righty then. So a good, good slate of games. This is like, I think, all of our favorite time of the year. The year-end wrap-up with football and the playoffs, right? Like, and it's Christmas and it's New Year. It's just a great time of the year. The only thing that would make this better is if it was hot out and I could go to the beach. But whatever, Vikings Saints is going to be a good game. I think the Vikings are still a pretty good team. Obviously think the Saints are going to win, but I think it's going to be a good game. The Bucs and Lions is going to be a good game because the Lions have a chance to truly upset the Buccaneers and put a little a fork in their playoff hopes potentially. 49ers Cardinals, come on, man. It's a division game, and the 49ers obviously want to be playoff spoilers for the Cardinals. That's going to be phenomenal. Raiders and Dolphins. The winner of that game could potentially sneak into the playoffs there, right? So that's going to be a great game. Jets, Browns, But yeah, Colts, Steelers. Like, are the Steelers going to bounce back against the Colts, whose defense is playing phenomenal? I don't know. I don't know. They could legitimately only end the season with the 11 wins that they started with, which is kind of wild. Falcons, Chiefs, not really interested in the game itself because the Chiefs don't really care about winning that game. I'm just interested to see what the Falcons do numbers wise against somebody like Tyreek Hill, because our secondary is pretty bad. I think he could do another 300-yard game. Like, I just want to see that happen or something like that. But for me, it's the Rams Seahawks. That's the game. That is the game of the week for me. Because like I said, I have a weird feeling that the Rams are going to win out and they're going to win their division. I'm just not sold on the Seahawks defense still. I think the Rams, like I said, because they have this chip on the shoulder, they're a little bit more hungry than the Seahawks right now, potentially.
Your hot takes for that? Yeah,
and so my hot takes are that the Rams will have 2 receivers go over 100 yards. They will have Jared Goff will throw for 4 touchdowns, no picks. Russell Wilson will have another midseason relapse like he had this year and throw 3 interceptions.
Ooh.
And DK Metcalf does not get over 50 yards.
You can't do that because I need those yards for fantasy, man. You can't do that. Oh, you want me to win this league or not?
I do, man. I'm rooting for you. But with that, I bid you all adieu. It's Christmas Eve. Got to get going and stay with the family.
Man, happy holidays, man. Like, I hope you're having a good one. All the best to your family, especially your dad. I hope he's doing okay. A lot better. So, like, nothing but love there, man.
Appreciate you guys, man. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's do this.
Oh man, that really hurt to hear. To be honest, I did not want to hear the Metcalf stat, man. I get it's Jalen Ramsey, but you can't hurt me like this, man. Those are my feelings that you got to take into consideration. But anyway, man, what's your games and hot takes for this week?
So he already ran down the full list, but one game I really wanted to look at, honestly, is Washington versus the Panthers. That is a game I can really get behind. A Panthers team that's mainly off of their offense and how good they can be, especially with Teddy Bridgewater slinging the ball around against Washington defense that's been surprisingly very good for the basically entire end part of the season. Another game I'm really looking at is definitely the Rams and the Hawks. He already took my hot takes from him that the Hawks will lose and Russell actually throw multiple picks. I wasn't going to say that about DK, but it is what it is. But my game of the week, honestly, it's the Colts and the Steelers. It got to be the Colts and the Steelers.
It has to be. Yeah, no, you're right. It's top two defenses with quarterbacks who aren't really what they used to be, but are still serviceable. Over 70 points in Titans Packers. That's a good hot take, Chris Thomas, right there. But I will say this. Let me ask you, who's gonna have more passing yards by the end of that game? Phillip Rivers or Ben Roethlisberger?
So this goes to my hot take now. So Phillip Rivers will get shut down. Jonathan Taylor will not have over 50 yards rushing against that Steelers defense. And Big Ben will come to play, unfortunately. So that means a touchdown for Ebron, a touchdown for Schuster, so he can go ahead and dance on the logo, as well as a touchdown for Johnson. 3 touchdowns, no picks. And James Conner actually comes back to get 2 touchdowns.
That's so one hot thing. You're calling for the revival of the Steelers here, man. That is wow. Okay. You know, I can see it because the Colts defense is a bit fair weather with regards to being hot and cold in most weeks. So I get where you're coming from, but I still think Colts get the win here, in my opinion. I think they do get that win, man. Like it'll be a good game. I know it's going to be a good defensive running game. I'm going to call it right now with Nyheim Hines being the lead rusher. That game. So that'll be one of my few hot takes. But I'm gonna give my game of the week real quick, and I'm gonna be a homer on it because it is an interesting situation. I'm going with the Jets and the Browns, and let me explain why. So this is one of these games that affects 2 different aspects of record consequences. By that I mean playoff seeding and draft status. So let me put it this way: for Cleveland, they need to win this game and the game after in order to clinch the NFC North and the division title and the top 3 seed in the playoffs. For the Jets, it is in their best interest to lose so that they can try to get the number 1 overall pick back. Should the Jaguars pull off the upset over the but it might not happen because if somehow the Jets win this game, they will drop further down the draft stock. They might either take the Bengals pick at 3 or jump down to 4, which is I think the Dallas Cowboys pick right now. So it's kind of a weird situation where like you want Cleveland to win and you want New York to lose if you're a Jets fan like I am, but it's just like kind of like mixed up and crazy. So you don't know what's going on. And the Browns, like they're missing a few key pieces, especially on the offensive line. Jedrick Willis was put on the COVID list. I had another person on his list. Right guard Wyatt Teller out with a neck injury, and versatile offensive lineman Chris Hubbard also injured with a knee injury. So there's some major holes at the defense of the offensive line.
Except for that offense is the offensive line.
But the Jets defense is also missing a huge piece. Quentin Williams out for the rest of the season with a neck injury. Same thing with having lost linebacker Harvey Lange to a neck injury as well. So it's not exactly a good situation in the trenches for either team, but it would be interesting. So here are my 2 takes. My first take is that the Browns are going to win this game by 2 scores. I think I'm going to give it about a 30-14 win for the Browns in this game. I think Sam Darnold will toss 1 touchdown, and Frank Gore will score another just because he's trying to be the ageless wonder that Adam Gase wishes he was. But nevertheless, the Browns will go off. Nick Chubb will run for 150 yards, and Baker Mayfield will just take it easy as his team glides his way over to the AFC North Crown Showdown with the Steelers. And in my other hot take from any of these games, if I'm gonna put a team on upset alert, I am going to go with. You know what? I'm going to go with the Vikings upsetting the New Orleans Saints on Christmas, man. Do you believe in miracles? Because while it might not be a Minneapolis miracle, it could be a miracle down in New Orleans. And Minneapolis and the Vikings have been kind of a thorn in the Saints' back for the past couple of years, especially in the playoffs, having kicked them out twice already in 2019 and 2018. So why not add more insult to injury and just upset the Saints on Christmas, just to really rub it in the wounds of Sean Payton?
I can't go with that. I can't go against Sean Payton. I can't go against for the Breeze that's coming back and an Alvin Kamara who is doing his thing all season long. The guy already had his 81 receptions for the year.
Well, think about this. I said last week that my game of the week was going to be the Eagles-Cardinals game, and that turned out to be the game of the week, right? So far I've had a pretty good streak of predictions. So
it's okay. It's okay.
Don't be doubting me here, Mr.
Listen, I don't know what I can do for this one. Oh man, listen, I was with you on the last one though.
About my Jets pick, yeah, absolutely, man. Like that, I needed that. I know they say that a team doesn't want a fan doesn't want their team to lose, but this is different circumstances. And when you have someone like Trevor Lawrence, and I know I gave that whole spiel about like number one doesn't always guarantee success. When you're looking at a quarterback prospect that ranks among Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning, can you really say no to that? Can you really?
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Exactly.
It's just so hard.
And I'm gonna end up. With that being said, I'm gonna end it right here on this pessimistic take by a very cynical Jets fan. So, with that being said, thanks to everyone who tuned in today. Thank you to Avery Collins who tuned in with us as much as he could before he had to go. Major shout out to Darius Riddick, who couldn't join us today, but we hope he's doing well with his family. And remember, guys, I just want to start plugging some stuff in for our social medias. You can follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere that all our social medias are plugged in right there. You can also find all of our podcasts and player interviews on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Anchor, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Inside the Hashes is there. You can also check out our video work on YouTube and on our website, InsideTheHashes.com, along with our blogs and game recaps that I think you might find quite a bit enjoyable to read. And also, join the Discord, you guys. We love hearing from you just as much as you like hearing from us. We like talking football at all levels, whether it is high school level, the college level, whether it's arena football, whether it's German football, whether it's Australian football, which is kind of weird because I don't understand how that game works. But nevertheless, we can talk about that too if you're willing to teach me. And even the pro level. Join our Discord, log in, talk to us. We like talking back. For Darren Braxton, for Avery Collins, for Darius Riddick, for Chris Thomas, for Jerome Jones, the Eagles fans attacking me all night, which I really don't get why. And for myself, Juan Pablo Winnie Camargo, we're all wishing you on behalf of Inside the Hashes a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, #350. We'll see you next time, football fans. See you next year.
Baby. Woo-woo.